Sit back and listen to this extremely interesting story.
The wife messes up and asks for another chance. A very short story that asks a difficult question. I was floating in a warm, cozy zone halfway between sleep and wakefulness. Images of a pleasant dream kept popping into my head. I felt obscene, for I was dreaming of Todd, my young, handsome coworker. I'm a married woman, a happily married woman. I clenched my thighs, reliving the sensation of meeting him. God, it was so real. I felt my body parts harden, remembering the rush of pleasure he'd given me. Gradually, I became aware of new sounds that were invading my sweet memories, forcing me to leave them behind. What was that noise? My brain was trying to separate reality from the dream world. Damn it, I don't want to wake up. Why can't I sleep some more and relive my pleasant dream once more? That fucking noise. What the hell was that? My eyes flew open, and everything came over me again. I threw my head to the side. Oh my God, no, no, no. Please, God, it was a dream, a dream. Todd was sound asleep. His handsome young face was serene as he snored lightly, completely oblivious to my panic. I sat up and looked around the room. It took only a few seconds to recognize my room. The empty bottle of wine and 2 glasses were still on the small table under the mirror. Our clothes were strewn about the room as if they'd been picked up by a whirlwind. I lifted the sheet and slid off the bed. I was undressed as I went to the bathroom to get my robe. I turned on the light and looked in the mirror. Guilt overwhelmed me as I looked at my pathetic reflection. Makeup smeared, hair in disarray, bloodshot eyes. It was the face of a shameful cheater. I burst into tears, turning away from the horrible woman in the mirror. I cried for a few minutes before I felt a light touch on my shoulder. I turned and saw Todd's handsome face, riddled with concern. He put his arms around me and I cried even harder. Hey, it's okay, Erin. It's okay, he said, stroking me. No, it isn't. How could I have been so stupid? I'm married. God, what have I done? He stroked me once more and hugged me tightly. Look, we just got carried away. It wasn't planned. It just happened. We can get through this. We just need a plan. How I cheated. How can I ever look into David's eyes again? It's over. I've ruined my marriage. All our hopes and dreams are gone forever. Erin, he shook me. You have to pull yourself together. I looked at his angry face and then hung my head and sobbed into his chest. Look, you talked to David last night after dinner, right? He knew we were together, like we always are. He knew we got the contract, and we're going to go to the bar for a celebratory drink. Check your phone. You didn't miss any calls. Still snorting. I went and got my phone. No calls? Okay, it's 7:00. Text him good morning and remind him what time the plane lands. Yeah, okay, that's what I usually do. I texted my husband, and within 30 seconds he replied, David, okay, baby, I'll be there. Congratulations again. Love you. Erin, thank you. I love you guys too. There you see, there's no need to panic. Everything will be fine. I sank down on the bed. God, I hope so. I don't know what I'll do if I lose him. Todd stepped toward me and pulled me to him. My head rested against his bare chest. He stroked me a few times, then leaned down and kissed the top of my head. Don't worry, he'll never find out. It will be our secret. I swear I won't tell anyone. I could never do anything like that to you, Erin. I snorted a few more times and nodded my head in response. Todd ran his hand through my hair and pulled my head against his body. After a few seconds, he chuckled softly. I looked up at him. Smirking, he said, We're already guilty. There's no reason why we can't have one last time together. I pushed him away. Are you out of your fucking mind? I shouted, standing up. This, I said, gesturing to the ruins of my bed, will never happen again. He stepped back, raising his hands. I'm sorry. I was just trying to make a joke. Of course I was. I said, looking at him. You need to get dressed and get out of here. Turning on my heels, I walked into the bathroom and locked the door. I showered and took a long moment to make sure there wasn't the slightest trace of Todd on my body. Once dressed, I examined myself in the mirror, looking for any marks I might have. To explain, Todd and I drove to the airport together and sat next to each other on the plane. We talked about the contract and the bonus each of us would get. After my outburst in the room, Todd had the good sense not to mention anything about our connection. In fact, we never talked about it again. 20 years later, David and I were cleaning up the last remnants of the mess after our son Martin's graduation party. In a few weeks, he would be leaving for college and we would be empty chicks. I gathered the last of the dishes into the dishwasher and turned it on. When I stood up, David wrapped his arms around me and kissed me hard. I love you, baby. I look forward to spending lots of alone time with you when we have our own home. I smiled at him and squeezed him tightly. I'll hold you to that. In fact, Marty won't be coming home for a long time. Come with me. I led him upstairs to our bedroom. After that, my loving husband fell fast asleep. As I lay in bed, my thoughts returned to the events of 20 years ago that had almost destroyed my marriage. I held my breath, feeling guilt overwhelm me. It hurt, but not like the day David had picked me up at the airport. I tried to act normal, but I couldn't. Everything was not normal. I ruined normalcy. I tried my best to face my husband. When we got home, David carried my bag to our room and I sat at the kitchen table. When he came back downstairs, he sat across from me. Okay, something's not right. You just signed a huge contract and you're acting like our dog died. So tell me what happened. I started to cry. I fought it, but the tears were coming, and soon I was sobbing. David pulled a chair over to mine and comforted me as best he could. I'm so sorry, but it wasn't planned. It just happened. I mumbled between sobs. David pulled away from me. What's wrong? What are you saying, Erin? I sobbed harder. After dinner, we went to the bar and had a few drinks. Todd asked for a bottle of wine, but I was already tipsy, so I told him I was going back to my room. He said he would walk me to my room and brought the wine with him. When we got to my room, he asked if I wanted a nightcap. I should have said no. I should have sent him away, but I was tipsy after our big win, and a nightcap seemed like a good option. I let him in and we started toasting. The next thing I knew, I realized the bottle was empty and we were kissing. I was drunk, but I realized what I was doing. The kissing became intense and we fell into bed. The next morning, I was horrified at what I had done. I was crying and almost hysterical. Todd calmed me down and promised me he wouldn't tell anyone about it. Technically, I was his boss, and if he told HR, I'd be fired, but that was secondary. What bothered me most was what I'd done to us, to our marriage. I was scared to death. I even thought about not telling you. You slept with Todd. I'm so sorry, baby. I swear it will never happen again. Please, baby, I'm so sorry. My God, Erin, how could you do something like that? I know you were drunk, but do you think he drugged you? No, baby, I was drunk, but I remember everything, and it will haunt me forever. We both just lost control. It was stupid. I'm so sorry. Is this the first time? You know, the first time you and he. The first and only one, only once, and then we both passed out. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. David leaned back in his chair. Jesus, Erin, I can't believe you cheated on me. We talked about starting a family. Erin slid off the chair and knelt down, resting her head on David's lap. She groaned loudly, wrapping her arms around his legs. No, God, no. Please don't give up on us. I want to have your children. I want us to be a family. I want us to be together forever. Please, David, I'm begging you, please. David stroked her head and then slowly stood up. I need to think about this. I think you should go to your mom's. He grabbed his keys and headed out the door. I was devastated. The love of my life had just left me, and it was completely my fault. I called my mom and told her I was coming over. I packed my bag and carried it to the car. Oh my God, Erin, you didn't do this. How could you let that Todd guy take advantage of you? No, Mom, it wasn't like that. It wasn't his fault any more than it was mine. It was my own fault. Jesus, will he forgive you? He must forgive you. It was one stupid mistake. He can't divorce you because of one stupid mistake. I don't know, Mom. I cheated, and he has every right to be mad at me. All I can do is beg him to give me a second chance. He'll do it, baby. He loves you. He'll give you another chance. God, I hope so. I'm not sure I could do what I'm begging him to do. Would you be able to, Mom? Would you take Daddy back if he cheated? Both women looked at each other and then cried, hugging each other. It was 5 days before David called and asked Erin to come home to talk. She was glad he called, but worried about what he would say. She sat at the kitchen table again, trembling with fear, tears streaming down her face. Erin, I've been thinking about this a lot. I talked to Dad, and he told me to search my heart for forgiveness, but there isn't any. Not yet. I still love you, but it's going to take us a long time to get past this. Anything. I'll do anything you want. I'm sorry. Please give me a second chance. David held up his hand. I believe this is the only time this has ever happened, and you are truly sorry for what you did. but it will be hard for me to trust you again. If I can't bring myself to trust you again, we won't be able to stay married." Those words crushed my soul. I sobbed uncontrollably. "Erin, you screwed up, and you know you screwed up. You probably could have kept it from me, but you chose to admit your betrayal as soon as you got home. That decision to be honest with me about what you did brought you a tiny modicum of trust. I hope we can build on that tiny bit of trust." His words slowly reached me and my heart soared. "Does that mean you'll give me another chance?" David opened his arms and I rushed to him. He hugged me and I sobbed with joy. I kissed his face. "Thank you, baby. I swear I'll never do anything to make you not trust me. I love you with all my heart. The next 18 months were hard. I did everything I could to keep David happy with me." At work, Todd decided it would be best if he moved to another job, and I think Dave was happy to know that he had moved to another state. Even though he had given me permission to stop taking birth control, I was still nervous when I told David I was pregnant. I was afraid he might think I was pregnant to trap him in our marriage, but he was so happy about it that I realized my fears were unfounded. Our son is now 18 years old and will be heading off to college soon. Although I am sad that we didn't have more children, I look forward to my husband being able to spend as much time alone as he can handle. The end sometimes we get a second chance at life. Erin was wise enough to make the most of this opportunity. She did her best to reassure David, and gradually he began to trust her again. As for me, I'd like to think I could do what David did, but I hope I never have to. What about you? Do you believe in second chances?
Subscribe to our channel so that your second C gaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.